Super duper.
Yes, boy.
And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Thursday edition of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be with you, ladies and gentlemen. Time to get this proverbial show on the metaphorical road. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure is almost exclusively mine, but sharing in it is, of course, Colonel Grudge, #DadKicks, the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate, the content cash cow, the sultan of swag, the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the glass. What's up, big dog?
I have never used the word proverbial in a sentence, and I need to work on that. I think it would make me a better person.
I mean, it's all about
that was
the
not
show.
that was not critical. I've never used it before.
Yeah, this show all about upping the intellectual discussion of the upstate. You know, it's all about making you bigger, better, faster, stronger, smarter by listening to the show. All proven side effects of spending at least an hour a day with us.
I'm sure there's someone out there who went, what did he say?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a day lined up for you today, and we hope that you'll stick with us all the way through. Coming up at 9:30, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast is going to join us on the show, and that will be an interesting discussion because the Panthers have been in the news quite a few times this week, and now there is discussion ongoing regarding the potential for the Panthers to add into a trade for Baker Mayfield wide receiver Robbie Anderson.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yesterday, the discussion started swirling that the Panthers might try to rope the Browns into a straight-up QB for QB trade. We'll send you Sam Darnold to fill in until until Deshaun is clear to go. You send us Baker Mayfield to get him off of your roster. Mary Kay Cabot, who is the beat reporter for the Cleveland Browns, said that that is not true, that there is a negative likelihood of that happening. That, frankly, the Browns just aren't interested in Sam Darnold. But then the rumors started swirling after that there was the potential to add a little capital into the mix to make the Browns maybe a little more favorable towards paying off some of the contract of Baker, and considering the fact that Robbie Anderson has been silencio from the beginning, with the exception of a tweet that said, maybe I'll think about retiring when the Baker trade talks refired up earlier this week.
I'm going to make a quick prediction that Rashad will not be smiling today. That's just a prediction. We'll see if it happens here in 25 minutes or so.
I got to tell you, I also do not think we get smiley Shad today. You know, there's two Rashads. There's business Rashad, and then there's smiling Rashad. The Rashad that pops up when he's feeling good about what's happening with Charlotte. The Rashad that shows up when he likes the way things are playing out in Charlotte. I got a feeling that will not be the case, but here is the question. If Robbie Anderson, who did a number of weeks ago say, when the Baker to Charlotte discussion started flaring up initially, very loudly expressed his disinterest in that trade, and then earlier this week when those trade talks started firing back up, sent out a tweet saying, thinking about retiring, deleted that tweet quickly. He was asked yesterday at minicamp where he was not working out. He has some hip soreness, so he was in the sweats yesterday. They said, hey, big dog, what's up with that tweet about retiring? And his answer, Lonzo, was, I'm here, ain't I? Like, yeah, you are, but Baker's not.
Yeah, in sweats.
Right. Maybe he's banged up. I get it. I'm not. The older guys get. The less I need them necessarily.
Come on, he's not that old. How long has he been in the league? Like 4 years, maybe. He's not that old. I get he's playing wide receiver where you get banged up a lot, but still, he's not that old. So, my mind is clogged by stuff which I will not say what it is, but it's dripping.
Snot?
It's snot. It is snot.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
You went somewhere that I was not going. So did you mention that Sam Darnold and Anderson would be going for Baker Mayfield?
The Browns, according to Mary Kay Cabot, have zero interest in Sam Darnold. He is not an option. They are not interested in him. The Panthers cannot send him to Cleveland. So basically, it would be Baker for Robbie Anderson plus draft pick, financial compensation, whatever the case might be. But not a great look. So Robbie Anderson tweets out, I'm thinking about retiring. He gets called out on that yesterday at Panthers minicamp. He says, yo, I'm here, ain't I? Like, yeah, dude, but that the thing that would make you tweet thinking about retiring, the guy that made you tweet that is not here, Robbie. That's why they're asking about it, right? You said after the Baker discussion flared back up, thinking about retiring. The Baker discussion has not been fulfilled yet. He is not a Carolina Panther. The question remains, if Baker shows up, if Baker is traded for in the next week in order to give him some time to show up to minicamp and get to know his new guys, etc., if that does take place, if that does happen, do we see Robbie Anderson's name pop up on the retired inactive list after that? I mean, the answer is no, okay? Robbie Anderson has multiple years left in the league. Robbie Anderson has multiple games left in the league. And Robbie Anderson has millions of dollars left to make in the league. I'll tell you right now, I have worked with people throughout this career of 15-ish years.
By the way, he's only been in the league 2 years.
2, yeah, he's young. Yeah. I have been in this game for 15 years. And I have worked with some people that I did not enjoy working with.
I told you I'm working on it.
But the reason I keep working with Lonzo is not because of the terrible chemistry we have with each other.
So bad.
It is not because of the fact that we have absolutely nothing in common to share and talk about off the air.
Video games, wrestling.
Losers. And it is not because of the fact that we don't win awards for Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year.
It's all fixed.
The reason I keep working with Lonzo, despite the obvious animosity, is a paycheck, dog. That's it. That's the number one reason. Robbie ain't going nowhere. Robbie is up in his feels because he doesn't like Baker. And I get that. You may not like his play style. You may not like his attitude. You may not like his swag.
And he's not the level of receiver that can really make. I mean, he's good, but
right, you ain't Devontae, dude.
Absolutely, he's not.
You ain't Devontae. You have had some questionable stretches of games. You ain't Devontae. I don't think the Panthers are going to look in the front office today and go, you know, I think we got the Browns interested. I think we got the Browns on the hook. I think we can talk the Browns into making this trade, but we should probably call it off because Robbie Anderson tweeted and then deleted a very vague retirement thread about it. Robbie, if you don't want to play, my guy, that's cool. Just sit. That's fine. Just don't get paid. I'm sure he's got enough money already. He could never work another day in his life and be just fine. But, Robbie, you are 2 years into the show, my guy. 2 years into the hustle. There are tens of millions left on the table for you to go get. And if it's a personality thing with Baker, man, I got to tell you, out here in the real world, every single one of us has or has had a coworker that we did not like having to work with. Some of us in very close proximity. And do you know what we all have to do in the real world? Suck it up, buttercup. Go play. Go work. Go get your paper. Play off the end of the contract you have with the Panthers. And if Baker is still there, which, spoiler alert, he won't be. He's a one-year rental, right?
So I'm curious about this. So if they get Baker Mayfield and somehow Robbie stays there, does he tell him, hey, don't throw the ball to me? I don't want to catch. I don't like you, so I don't want to catch the ball from you. Does he just sit on the bench or does he go out and just run routes precisely?
But then not catch the ball.
Yeah, but hey, I don't like you.
Where'd that come from?
Hey, I don't like you. Don't throw the ball to me. Is that how that's supposed to work?
I think Robbie Anderson sucks it up, realizes that if he wants cash, he's got to do his job regardless of who the facilitator of that job is. I don't, and I'm going to say this respectfully as I can, I don't really care about how Robbie Anderson feels about this situation, with one exception. With one exception. And the one exception is that if Robbie is so damn upset about having to play for a team that's got Bake as the quarterback, Robbie might talk his way into getting traded to Cleveland. And if this goes through, you know who his quarterback in Cleveland will be? Because I don't. That's a genuine question. I'm asking that as a question. It's not going to be Sam Darnold. It's not going to be Deshaun this year, I don't suspect. Who do we say? We looked it up yesterday, and I already forgot. Who's next on Cleveland's rotation? Do you remember? I don't even remember.
Why do I want to say Jacoby Brissett? I'll look it up.
I want to say I don't know. I don't even know. We literally did this yesterday, and I already forgot. You would think that this would be an important factor in the conversation, right? You would think this would be an important factor in the conversation because who his backup is probably going to be the starter for the Browns this year unless they go ahead and either get Garoppolo on a one-year deal or get Sam Darnold on a one-year deal.
Yeah, it's Jacoby Brissett.
Okay, there you go. So, Robbie.
Although they may have Josh Dobbs also. I don't know. But either way.
Yeah, that did make it better. So, Robbie, here's your options. Your options are you can go be a part of the boat show in Cleveland, Ohio, and play for America's current least favorite football team and have your quarterback be Jacoby Brissett, or you can suck it up. You can play for a year with Baker Mayfield, a playoff caliber quarterback. You can get your numbers with that guy, and then next year, you can be the guy that helps Matt Corral break onto the scene. You know, the first-round projected quarterback you picked up. Point is, I don't really care about what Robbie Anderson does here. Because if he does not play, good. Dude didn't want to be a part of the team. I don't want him as the one. If he does play and he goes out there and he stinks it up on purpose, he cost himself mucho dinero. If he does play and he stays with Carolina, then I just need him to make Baker look like a stud for a year, and then Baker's going to get a fat contract somewhere else. Or Carolina re-signs Baker and they know they've got a stud QB. Or He talks his way out of Carolina. He goes to Cleveland, and LOL, enjoy your 5-12 year with Jacoby Brissett. That's on you, my guy. That's on you.
Well, he's kind of used to that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, we'll talk about the potential trade. Again, coming up in about, we'll call it 20 minutes. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, will join us here on the show. NBA Finals, game number 6, go down tonight. And this one ought to be good. Golden State's got Boston on the brink of elimination, but the Celtics are at home. And they have been good at home. We'll talk about that. NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning found themselves down 2 goals midway through the game. What did they do? They went and scored 2 more and tied it up at 3. ... And then lost in overtime as the Avalanche bury a game winner a few minutes into extra time in the sudden death period, and the Avs have a 1-0 lead over the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. We're going to break that game down. I got some golf stuff as the U.S. Open gets set today. We may actually talk about the U.S. Open. Bryson DeChambeau is in the news. We'll talk about him. And Dan Snyder has declined an invitation to testify in front of Congress. But interestingly enough, Roger Goodell did not decline one. So we'll talk about what that means for the league. All of that and more coming up on the show today. He is the great one, Lonzo. I am Rob Brown, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. All right, let's see. Joseph. Rob, been listening since 2012, and I was stationed at Eglin. Much respect to you guys. Thank you, Joseph. Man, I appreciate that significantly. I'm glad to have you. Glad you found us, man. Eglin Air Force Base. Honorary commander in 2011? It's been 10 years, yeah.
That's cool.
Of the 96 Communication Squadron on Eglin Air Force Base. So I got to go on Eglin. And first off, I got to see how comms units laid down communication lines in active war zones, which was kind of rad. But I got to tour all the other units as well, including the Eglin MPs, the military police. So I got to actually do a training course with an M16 live fire through a training course. It was awesome.
You have to sign a waiver?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured you would. By the way, just to point out that I'm not weird, the Dan Patrick Show right now has a poll up. Steph Curry, great entertainer or kind of annoying? So that just lets you know. So anytime that you look at me weird, how could you not like Steph Curry?
What's the results on it so far?
Right now, it's 58.6% great entertainer, 41.4% kind of annoying, with 790 votes. Kind of annoying is going to win. You watch.
Not a chance.
And I wouldn't have put kind of in there. I would have just put annoying.
You put three options: kind of annoying, or hate that guy with every fiber of my being.
Watching a show this morning where they were putting Steph Curry on the level of LeBron James, that's actually his rival. And I agree. That has been his rival, especially early on. I'm wondering what I do if Saturday rolls around and I have no voice. I'll do the entire show as the God Pigeon. See if anyone notices. Actually, I could do that and just have Tim and Cameron interpret.
Have an anger translator. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you. The Preferred Home Services text line is open for you at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, and we will read them on the air. You can also give us a call. Come on the air with us at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FAN-FONE. That's 844-326-3663. It has been, Lonzo, remarkably quiet from Panthers fans. And when I say remarkably quiet, I am talking about including on the text line, including in the tweets. And ordinarily, or at least in my experience thus far, when I've talked Panther football in the past, and maybe it's just because it's the offseason, right? I get it. A lot of people check out during the offseason, right? They don't necessarily care about mini camp.
It's vacation season right now is what it is.
And I get that.
We got a lot of people in and out, just in the building alone, in and out right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's vacation season. Those of you that are at work, 9 to 12, it's grind time. But, and during football season, I was on 12 to 3, which is most people's lunchtime. But typically, when we have brought up the Panthers, especially talking about big-time moves. When we talk about big-time moves, when we talk about when we talk about adding players, ordinarily you guys light up. You buzz, you text, you tweet at least. Right now, it's been basically for the last 3 days, Tiger Pal Rachel talking about the Panthers and not really anybody else. No, I know you care, right? Because last year, there was enough of you to justify me doing Sunday remotes talking Panther football before every kickoff. I know there's enough of you that care because every week, Rashad's interview is one of the most downloaded segments of the week. I know you guys are there.
You reach a point where you're tired of rumors and you want to see a team do something and you're worried they're not going to do anything. And I don't know if so you just turn it away and just don't pay attention anymore until the season happens. But I think a lot of people are worried that the Panthers are going to start off the year with Sam Darnold as a quarterback again.
And that might be fair. It may very well just be that we have had so much discussion about Baker to the Panthers, and none of it has come to fruition, that Panthers fans are like, dude, just do it or don't, but stop. Right? I get that. We have all seen that in politics all the time. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. All right, well, either do it or don't, but shut the hell up about it. Right? Do it or don't, but shut up about it. If you're going to do it, and if you're not going to do it, stop talking about it. And I wonder if maybe that's the vibe with this. But my thought is, quarterback has been a big hindrance for the Carolina Panthers. I don't think that's a hot take, right? Quarterback has been a big hindrance for the Panthers the last couple of years. And if QB has been a big hindrance for the past couple of years, and there is a dude available that you're active in trade talks for, that really is not going to break the bank to bring him in, even if it is only a one-year rental, it is a big stepping stone from Sam Darnold. I would assume that you guys would have thoughts on it. But so far, it has been strangely quiet from the Panthers fans. Is Lonzo right? Are you just overhearing about it? Because look, I understand that in this business, we talked about this on the air before. In this business, you can get to a point as a host where you feel like you're beating a dead horse. You all right, I've hammered this point 100 times. I don't need to do it again. Right? But sometimes that point has to be discussed, even if you've already discussed it. For you guys, not so much, right? For you guys, not so much. For you guys, it might just be that you've heard it enough, you don't need to hear it again, you're ready to move on, and I wonder if that's the case here. Because there's a QB dangling out there right now that is available. There's a QB out there dangling right now that could be brought in, that could be added to the mix, that would absolutely be an upgrade. The Panthers could make that move without breaking the bank, and you guys, it seems like, just have no reaction to it at all, which I find very interesting. Because you're reacting to everything else, right? You guys have been reacting to golf more than you've been reacting to the Panthers and Baker discussion in the last few days. You guys reacted to a guy getting banned from singing the national anthem at the World Series for flashing a horns down sign more than you have talked about this Baker discussion. You guys interact more about hot dogs with chili on them than you do about your NFL team. I will also ask this question, though. And I think it's a fair one to bring up in this conversation as well. After the Rock Hill debacle, after the Panthers HQ in South Carolina got shut down, David Tepper's company declaring bankruptcy, after the story started circling, myself included, saying this is, I think, not to be existential, but a pretty glaring sign that if Charlotte does, you like that? It's my Shakespearean pose.
I was thinking Bill and Ted, but it's the same thing.
Righteous. This is, not to be existential, a sign that if Charlotte doesn't give David Tepper exactly what he wants, the Panthers are gone. And I think that a lot of you guys realize that's a strong possibility, and I wonder if that didn't check some people out as well, right? Why am I going to continue to invest in this team that in 5 or 6 years is going to be the Oakland well, they're not going to Oakland. People are leaving Oakland. It's going to be the Oklahoma City Panthers, right? Why would I get invested in that? That's a fair question. All right, let me take a break. Rashad Beard scheduled to join us in the next segment. If he does, we'll talk Carolina Panther football one more segment, and then we'll burn it for a while. If he does not, I got plenty more to talk about. Let you know when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Zoe. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
I appreciate, Zeb, that you are continuing to allow the legend of beef to grow.
The legend of beef. Don't mess with beef.
You send him a thingy?
Yeah, he just texted me, so give me 2 minutes. I'll be in there.
I think it's time to get out the Vicks Vapo Rub.
I'm struggling over here today.
Thanks, Seb. I mean, we do our best. Here's what I hope. I hope you look at the mess that we are and think, man, I don't have it that bad. I'm not those guys.
Man, Seb, sincerely, that means a lot to me, buddy. It genuinely does. We've always said that this show is meant to be a break from reality and a break from real life, and that's about as real life as it gets, my guy. So, I understand. The girlfriend struggles with anxiety. I know it can absolutely be a burden. So if we give you a little bit of break from that, man, it's an honor to do so. And we appreciate you being here and bull boating around with us every day.
All right, the worst way for the screen to get frozen, a side view of my head. It's just not good. Question is it TV or what is it? I don't know. There he is.
Rashad, what's up, big dog?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, pal?
Pretty good. Just got back from the gym, so I'm tired.
I'll say you're in a new setup today, man. Got a new vibe going today.
Nah, yeah, I got my space painted up here, so it's a little different.
I got you.
That would be why we're offline.
We being
Oh, the TV's not.
okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
We'll do the Baker, the renewed Baker conversation. We'll talk about
Won't let it
Robbie's
die, huh?
tweet. You know, all the stuff that everybody else is annoying you talking about. Rashad just asked during the break, what are we talking about today? And my answer was all the things that I know are going to annoy the hell out of you, basically. It's not on purpose.
See, that's not fair. He's smiling now.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Let's see in about 4.5 minutes if Rashad still got the $1 million smile working. Rashad Beard is one half of the host of the Panther Nation podcast, which you can find on the social media at Panther Nation PC. You can also find the Panther Nation podcast on YouTube. Make sure you are liked and subscribed. It will be your home for Panthers news and information. Rashad, what's up, big dog?
What's going on? It's good to be back. It's been a couple weeks, but it's good to be back with you guys.
Yeah, we had see what happened. What happened?
What happened
was Lonzo last week decided that his family vacation was more important than doing the show with us, and of course, everything hit the fan while he was gone. Yeah. It hit the fan literally. It works well. But he's back this week, so we're back to our regular.
It's all planned so people see how important I am. You know, That's what you do.
Hashtag strategy.
Real selfish, man. Just go on vacation like that.
I know. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Family. Ugh. Anyway, Rashad, let's jump into it. And obviously, the biggest discussion going on right now is that we have got reporters. Rashad just drops his head. I love it. We have got reporters saying that the Panthers and the Browns have renewed trade negotiations to bring over Baker Mayfield. And even better, yesterday, and it is a rumor, and I will acknowledge that it is a rumor that just hasn't been debunked yet. But now the rumor is that there is the potential, since Robbie Anderson has made it relatively clear he doesn't want to play with Baker, that Robbie Anderson could get thrown into the mix to sweeten the pot for the Browns a little bit. Just your overall thoughts on that before we dive into the specifics, Rashad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This whole Baker Mayfield thing is it won't die. And I will acknowledge that where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So I get it. I understand that the Panthers are going to do whatever it takes to solidify the quarterback position that they're obviously not comfortable with, or they appear to not be comfortable with the continued talks of Baker Mayfield that won't die. And I listen, time is running out, to be honest with you. If they're going to do this and for it to make logical sense and for Baker Mayfield to pick up the offense, for him to get the chemistry, what we cannot afford to do is wait until the last minute and throw him in there and then expect him to be the best he can be. You're running out of time. So while I don't listen, you do whatever you can do until you got a quarterback. I get it. I'm not the biggest fan of Baker Mayfield. I think he's an upgrade over Baker, but ever so minor. I think he's maybe a 1 to 2 win upgrade over Sam Darnold. So I'm not. It's just not it for me. And I'm tired of the minor upgrades. Let's get a guy like you drafted Matt Corral. I'd much rather see him be the day one starter than you wasting picks on a Baker Mayfield or trading away assets like Robbie Anderson for a Baker Mayfield. It just does not make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me.
The plus minus for me, Rashad, is on the plus side, he's going to come relatively cheap for a starting quarterback. And listen, I would say Baker's inside the top 15 quarterbacks in the league, right? I would say he's inside the top 15 quarterbacks overall. There are folks who have him hovering there. I would say he's around 11, 12. An obvious upgrade over Sam Darnold. I won't even hear an argument that he's not. That being said, the pro is that he comes cheap, especially if you do enough that the Browns are willing to pick up a majority of his contract. Obviously, the negative is that to do that, you've got to send assets to Cleveland for what amounts to either a one-year rental of Baker Mayfield or a guy that if he comes in and lights it on fire in Charlotte, you've then got to offer a franchise quarterback contract to next year.
Exactly.
Either way, the more you pay, it's for 1 year. Is Robbie Anderson 2 years deep into the league worth renting Baker Mayfield for a year? I would say yes if you were like on the verge of a Super Bowl, but you guys clearly are not yet. To me,
Bingo.
there's more Anderson value. That being said, I still want Baker in the fold over Sam Darnold if it's an option.
Man, and listen, we just did this exercise last week on our show, and we took a look at the PFF rankings, and we can argue whether Baker Mayfield is top 15, and it doesn't have. You don't have to be great when you have the number one rushing attack in the league. You don't have to be great when you have the number 2 offensive line in the league. You don't have to be great when you have one of the better coaches in the league. So there's all these things to support Baker Mayfield over in Cleveland that he will not have here. It's not a 1-to-1 scenario. You're not going to take Baker Mayfield, put him with the Carolina Panthers, and expect the same results as he had in Cleveland. It's just I don't see it. I just don't. Maybe I will gladly be wrong, but I just don't see him being that good of a quarterback over here, given the step down in talent. Or I won't say talent. I'll say the usage of the talent, because we have Christian McCaffrey. We have offensive lines improving, but how are we going to get the best out of it? We don't know until we see it. And I'm skeptical. And again, like you said, 1 year rental. I'd much rather get Matt Corral going than trying to get. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm listening to Rashad get progressively more annoyed with every word. All right, speaking of Robbie Anderson, when the Baker Mayfield discussions popped up again early this week, he tweeted and then deleted a tweet that said, I guess I'm going to think about being retired or go ahead and fixing to retire or whatever. I'm paraphrasing it here. I find that interesting, Rashad, because, I get that you're not a Baker guy, and I'm talking about Robbie Anderson, not you, although It's true both ways. I get that Robbie is not a Baker Mayfield guy, but maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe I'm being too stereotypical radio host guy, but that's me going, man, if you are talking about bailing on the team because they get a guy they consider an upgrade at the quarterback, That kind of makes me question if you're bought in for real or not. Is that fair, or am I being a little over aggressive towards Robbie Anderson?
I don't know. Robbie, so you have to put yourself in Robbie Anderson's shoes for a second. All right, so we had Teddy Bridgewater. He has a career year under Teddy. He had his first 1,000-yard receiving year with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. You take that quarterback away, and then you bring in the exact same quarterback where he's been with before, and the results were not good. So, of course, Robbie Anderson is going to be frustrated in that you bring in Sam Darnold. If anybody knows Sam Darnold, it's Robbie Anderson. Not anybody else on the coaching staff, not anybody else. Robbie Anderson knows what Sam Darnold is about. And obviously he was right in his frustration, because you remember last year when he, quote unquote, disappeared. He didn't come to training camp or took a couple days off or whatever. And it was a mini holdout per se. And he got paid. And so I'm thinking that he kind of put the Panthers' feet to the fire and said, hey, if I got to deal with Sam Darnold, I'm just paraphrasing. I'm just kind of hypothetically speaking here. But what I think happened was, hey, give me a contract or I'm not dealing with Sam Darnold. And they ended up extending him, and he got paid. And so now he's frustrated even more that you're bringing in another patchwork quarterback. I would be frustrated too, but I think there's a better way to handle that. I think you can't. Although, again, you can do what you want to do. It's your universe. Twitter, you tweet what you want to tweet, but you got to find a better way to handle it. I think the whole retirement tweet, it's getting a little old, right? I get it. I understand his frustration. I completely get it, because I'll be frustrated too, but you got to find a better way to handle it. Tweeting and deleting, I don't think that's cute. I don't like it. So that's kind of my thoughts.
Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. Find them on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to that. It's going to be a phenomenal asset for you if you are a Panthers fan. All right, so we got mini camp going on. Last couple of days, we've seen a lot of the vets working out in sweatpants, not really putting the helmets on, the shells on, which is not a big surprise. I mean, they call them vet days around the league. Guys that have been there. I mean, this is really for the new guys, for the young guys to build their chemistry and their foundation. That being said, what have you taken away from the first couple of days of mini camp without seeing the biggest names out there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. One name I am extremely happy to see that is doing well over OTAs and mini camp is Terrace Marshall. I'm hearing this man has improved, even from Christian McCaffrey's mouth. He's taken a big leap, and I'm excited because I really think this guy. Everybody's talking about Robbie Anderson. We just had a conversation about Robbie. If something happens to him and Robbie's not on the team, I am 1,000% confident in Terrace Marshall being number 2. So I'm excited to see him. I want to see him take that next step. He's made some great catches. We've seen those highlights. Frankie Louvu is another guy who's stepping up, bringing that energy. J.C. Horn looking great. I'm excited. And again, it's tough to get overly excited about it because, like you said, they're in helmets and T-shirts and shorts. So it's really hard. So until we get to training camp and they start to get the thumping, it's going to be difficult to see. But I like what I'm hearing from the young guys, and I want to see those guys step up. When those veterans are taking those vet days, you got to have somebody step up. And I'm starting to see the names I'd like to see fill those roles. So I love it. Love what I'm hearing so far.
One name that I've seen pop up a couple of times, and obviously down here close to Columbia, the Gamecocks fans are keeping an eye on J.C. Horn, who last year had a season. I was having a really good season before his knee gave out on him. From what I've read, dude looks like he's ready to hit the ground running so far. Looks like he came out ready for camp, fully rehabbed and ready to play. Has he been standing out to anybody?
Yeah, I think JC is, even since OTAs, he's been working out all offseason. He's back. He's healthy. And I think one of the sneaky additions is Steve Wilks to that defense. Steve Wilks has done amazing things prior to his head coaching days, before he went to Arizona as a head coach. People remember he was under McDermott, and he was our defensive coordinator for a couple years under Rivera. This guy is going to be really good for that secondary. And I'm excited to see what he can do with Jeremy Chin, with J.C. Horn, and with the rest of those guys on that, and C.J. Henderson. I'm excited. I think the secondary is going to be the strength of our defense, and so J.C.'s a part of that. So I'm excited to see him take the bull by the horns and be that lockdown guy we expect to see when we took him 8th overall. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to see him back and healthy. Looks like he's having fun, and I'm excited to see him out there at training camp.
Shefty Rashad reported a few days ago that two-time Pro Bowler defensive end Carlos Dunlap spent a couple of days with the Panthers. He is a Charleston native, considered the Panthers his hometown team. Obviously, Hassan Reddick, the #1 quarterback takedowner last year, is now an Eagle. But my thought was, defensive end seems like one of the spots the Panthers are relatively already set at. I mean, Dunlap obviously provides depth at that position, gives you a really good third down pass rush specialist to get out there, but aren't there not more pressing needs to try to get guys than what Carlos Dunlap provides?
I think that we're set but young. I think there's some unproven guys on the defensive end, guys like YGM, Yetur Gross-Matos, Frankie Louvu, Marquise Haynes. Those guys are young, and so when the news broke that we were bringing in Dunlap, I was like, I like it, but man, I want to see our young guys take that next step. And when you bring in those veteran presence, sometimes you tend to lean on those guys a little bit too much, and then they end up overtaking the roles of the guys that are supposed to take the roles. And so while I like it, I'd much rather see a YGM take the next step. I'd rather see a Marquise Haynes take the next step instead of bringing in a veteran. But a guy, I mean, just last year, he's 33 years old. He's still got a lot left in the tank. He had 8.5 sacks last year. And when you can get a guy like that, hey, why not add him to the rotation? I just don't want him being leaned on too much when the stuff hits the fan. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to hit the panic button and rely on him too much. So rotational guy, sure. But for him to be an every down guy and overtake our young guys, I'm not happy with that.
Makes sense. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. And last one before you cut you loose, Rashad, real quick. CMC, do we have an update? I know that he has been in shorts. He has not been going through the same minicamp as everybody else as that rehab continues. But any thoughts on his availability, ready to be ready on September 11th?
Yeah, I think he's going to be ready. I think that they're, got the whole technology systems hooked up to him, monitoring his steps and all this other crap. And I hope it works out. It appears that he's not going to play in the preseason. They're going to sit him during the preseason.
Which is absolutely the right decision, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue either way, right? Because they did that last year too, and he still got injured. So injuries are going to happen, whether you can't predict them. So there is no science, although they're trying to figure it out with the little shindigs they're hooking up to him. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm excited to see him. I think he's going to be key to the success of our team. Hope we don't rely on him too much, but I'm excited to get him back. And when CMC's healthy and available, good things can happen when on the offense. So we'll see.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can find them on YouTube, and make sure you do if you're a Panthers fan. They will become your #1 asset for Panthers information. My guy, good to have you back, buddy. We will do it again a week from today.
Absolutely, man. Anytime, hit me up. I'm ready.
Love to hear it. That is Rashad Beard. Joins the show every Thursday at 9:30 to talk Panthers ball. We are back after this. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show next. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, we back. McCaffrey and Baker, a.k.a. Shake and Bake. I kind of need that to happen now.
Oh, daggone it. Got me again. Stupid thing. Why? I'll fix the next one.
Away we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. What's happening, y'all? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, back in the pilot's chair today. He is the Maverick to my Goose. He does all the hard work. I sit in the back and be the comic relief. And what does it get us? What does it get us? Crystal trophies, primarily. We'll see you guys in, what is it, August?
Yeah, I forget when we find out. It's sometime soon, though. Maybe July?
How did I just get like irrationally nervous just by you saying that? Like, we find out soon. Now I'm like, oh, well, let me check my email every 10 minutes.
Well, that's the first nerve-wracking part is when you get that email from the big boss saying, we've got these nominations. Then you go through and go,
Are we there? Are we there? Are we there?
There it is.
It's like being in middle school all over again when Coach Palmer posts the basketball team cut list on his door, and he does it at 8:30, which, you know, you're in class. Now you can't wait for that 8:45 bell to hit so you can sprint down to ramp 7 and see if your name's on the cut list or not. That's where we are right now. We're waiting for Coach Palmer to pin the list to the door so we can find out if we made the team or not. Of course, we know we did.
I'm pretty confident in our submission, yes.
Lonzo is the Wizard of Wave for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see. Then, of course...
Hey, I just got to say, no revisions this year.
None.
Because we have to go through the boss down the hall first, and he has
we got the first time thumbs up from him. I thought you didn't need to revise it. I'm like, why would you?
There have been times where I've had to revise. Well, where's this? Well, where's this? And no revisions.
Because it was aces. That's nervous moment number 1. Nervous moment number 2, the height of anxiety for me was sitting at that table listening to your audio clip play, right? Because they play what, like a minute of it? They play like a minute.
It's never the best minute either.
No, it's just the first minute. They play the first minute.
Although last year, that first minute, you were a little nervous about, I think.
I was freaking out, dude.
Yeah. Well,
are you kidding me?
I'm always, you know what? It's adrenaline. I don't know if it's nerves, but it's definitely adrenaline. Nerves.
One point, the lady firm reaches over and she like puts her hand on my leg, which is bouncing like I'm trying to get to the center of the earth, and just leans on it like you have to stop. I'm gonna stop in 2 minutes. Leave me alone.
All right, I don't know, but I'm hoping for 3 this year for me. So we'll see.
Oh, dude, listen.
Last year was a down year, even though it was a great year because we won, but I only was nominated for 1. And
well, no, you were also a major hand in Radio Station of the Year. You got the Stanley Cup of South Carolina radio last year.
It really is a Stanley Cup. It's like when the Stanley Cup was first made before they started adding all the rings onto it. That's what it is. Yeah.
Big as hell.
We got 2 of those.
For about 8 months, WORD just left it sitting right there at the entrance to their studio. Like, yep, you may look, but you may not touch.
And shout out to the boss. All that working out really paid off because he one-armed that thing.
Yeah, he did.
And I tried to help, and he shrugged me off like, "How don't you steal my moment?"
He Hulk Hogan's is what he did. He's like, no, let the pythons show. I'm on top of the world now.
I did notice the shirt just kind of came back just a little there.
Completely unintentional, I'm sure. Completely unintentional. All right. A lot of stuff to get to on the program today, ladies and gentlemen, and we will start with this Stanley Cup. Game 1 yesterday. I'm sitting at the house watching this. First off, by the way, and one more congratulations because they're back in town now, but our boy Diddy got hitched a couple of weeks ago and outkicked his coverage, as they say. So yesterday evening, Diddy had a little get-together for all the GVL friends and fam that couldn't make it down to their destination wedding. And so we went and celebrated that. Congratulations again to our guy, Mike Van Diddy, the Diddy man. And his wife, who, by the way, you want to talk about making it?
I didn't get an invite. I'm so hurt.
Well, it was a beer-drinking extravaganza.
That was a joke. I know.
Oh, okay. You'd have just been sitting in the corner like...
No, I would have declined, but...
Fair enough.
There
it is. At least he's honest. I respect that. We went and did that. So he goes by Diddy. His blushing bride, affectionately known by his friends as Ditto. You want to talk about a wedding present? You want to know how you know you've made it? At the bar we were at yesterday, Diddy is kind of a dude in this town, in the beer scene. They brewed a special beer to celebrate Diddy's wedding, and they named it after Ditto, after his bride. It was called I Love You, Ditto. So yesterday I sat around with Diddy drinking a beer named after his wife. Spectacular guy. And congratulations to him.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I got to tell you, I have pulled off a lot in my life. I will have a beer named after me in this town. I don't know when. I don't know how. I don't know who's going to make it. And I don't know what kind it is. But
there are connections in the building. There are people down the hall who have their own... a couple of them.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know how many Crystal trophies Zoe and I have to win before I can go down there and go, I want a beer named after me, but I want a beer named after me. It's right there. Rob Brown Ale. It's right there.
So what would be your choice of what would you want to be named after?
I'm a Brown Ale guy. It'd be Rob Brown Ale.
Does it have anything in it?
Simple.
See, I don't drink, but I know there's some things that, like cinnamon or something like that you could put in it.
Nope, I just want a classic, traditional British brown ale. Little bit hoppy, not overwhelmingly bitter, and a maybe like I might go like a pecan beer. I like a good roasted pecan beer. So we might go downtown Rob Brown Ale. It's right there, kids.
I don't know if you can go downtown. That's probably copywritten by Julie Brown.
Downtown Julie Brown.
Your cousin.
Yeah, we're fam. We're related. So, every brewery in the upstate, which one of you wants to be the official beer of the fan upstate and rock the downtown Rob Brown Ale? It will fly off the shelves, ladies and gentlemen. Watch. All right. Stanley Cup last night. Colorado Avalanche find themselves up 2 goals in the second period. And the Lightning looked like they just couldn't get the corner turn at that point. They could not find a couple of goals anywhere for the Lightning. And then they did. Colorado up 2-0 early. Put on a couple on the quick in the first period. 2-0 to the Avs. And then Tampa pulled the experience out. We've been here. We've done this. We've been down in the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's go get it back. And they did. They come back to within 2-1. Colorado then gets a power play goal. They go up 3-1. And at that point, I thought, this is it. Not the series, but that game. Colorado is just a better hockey team. That's why I picked them in 7. Tampa's going to get a couple. They are the defending two-time Stanley Cup champions. But Colorado's just better. And then, within a minute, Tampa got them both back. Colorado put 3 past Andrei Vasilevsky, maybe the best postseason NHL goalie in history. They got 3 past him on 15 shots in the first period. It was unbelievable. But then the Lightning came storming back. They came roaring back. They got a couple in the first period, went level in the second, including a absolute rip of a wrister from Mikhail Sergachev. 48 seconds after the second goal, the Tampa defenseman slings a shot into the back of the net. Darcy Kemper was good, by the way. Darcy Kemper was good. But that Sergachev wrister was absolutely golden. So we go to OT. Nobody can break through in the third. It is a third period absolute fight. And the boys looked exhausted, both sides. Colorado, Tampa, as we got deep into the third, you could see the legs giving out. You could see the speed of the game slow down a little bit. The hits were a little more reckless, a little less orchestrated. The passes got to be less marksman efficiency and more, can I just get it to that guy and hope he can handle it? It was something else. So we go to OT. Tied 3-3, 18:41 showing on the clock when the Avalanche get a push up the left-hand side. There was a couple of shots, and Andrei Burakovsky was right there to grab the touch pass from Valeri Nichushkin, who just absolutely crossed Vasilevsky up. Vasilevsky had the right side of the net locked down. Nichushkin was able to read that, feigned a quick little wrister, just slid it across the face of the net. By the way, all of this came from an intercepted Tampa pass from the back line, behind the blue line. Colorado picked it up, brought it. There was a shot picked up by Nichushkin. He just slides it across, and Burakovsky just one-times it right into the upper left, right past the shoulder of Vasilevsky. It was a spectacular goal. What I liked about this game, both teams had stretches where they were absolutely dominant. Colorado did it early, built up a 2-0 lead. They eventually got a third one to go up 3-1. Tampa then turned around, put 2 into the net within a minute of each other, squared it off at 3. And then we had an absolute lockup in the third period of good hockey, tired hockey, exhausted hockey. But that's what happens. You had the Avs who poured everything to get the early lead. And I think the game plan may have been to go get the early lead. Not that you had to sit back, but make Tampa work extra hard to play catch up. And it worked. Tampa had to bust it just to get back into that game. And they did. And they were dominant when they did. But by the time that Tampa caught back up and squared that thing up at 3, Tampa was out of gas, and Colorado had not fully recovered from the onslaught of the first period. So you had Colorado dominate the first period, you had Tampa dominate the second period, and then you end up in the third period with a pair of teams that was fighting on fumes to get to the end, and neither could break through. The Burakovsky goal came predominantly because the back line of Tampa had no juice left, right? They made a mistake. And I said going in, I was talking to the lady friend and I were watching this game last night. And she was like, you know, she goes with me to Swamp Rabbits games. She watches NHL with me when I'm watching. She's like, this game seems really, really slow for a Stanley Cup Finals game, right? And I'm like, yeah. But both of these teams poured it out early in the game, and neither one of them had any juice left. And I suspect for Colorado, it was because they had been off so long that they forgot throttle control. For Tampa, it was because they had played so much more recently than Colorado that they were and had to go so hard in the second period just to catch back up that they ran out of gas. That game was good. This series is going 7. You got one more in Colorado. Then they take it back to Tampa. If we are not square at 2-2 after 4, I'll be shocked. Shocked. Because overtime last night was effectively who makes the first mistake. Who is the first team to blow it? Who is the first team to give away a bad possession? To get caught in a 2-on-1 situation? Who is the first team to blow it? And the answer was, shockingly a little bit to me, Tampa was. Tampa blew it first. And Colorado is too damn good not to take advantage of that. But Tampa does not make tons of mistakes like that, especially not in big-time games. They will not. I mean, they may give another one to Colorado, but they're not going to be for free. And Colorado did not make the first mistake late. They will at some point. The thing's going 7, and I would not be shocked if we have 4 overtime games in the 7. Honestly, we may go to extra sudden death 4 times out of 7 games. And I would not be shocked by that at all. If you are not watching the Stanley Cup, you are missing one of the best sports championship matchups of all time. Let's take a break. When we come back, speaking of finals, NBA Finals, Game 6 is set to go tonight in Beantown. Celtics on the brink of elimination. But I suspect they won't lay down for Steph tonight. We'll talk about that when we come back. Texter says, Rob, I think it would be more accurate for breweries to make a Liberob spritzer. 2 things. Number 1, spritzers are good. All right, little wine spritzer action when it's hot outside. Come at me if you want, but they're good. Second off, I'm a beer guy. Take a break. Back after this. Rob Lonzo, this is the Fan Upstate. Almost done, buddy. I got to make a phone call, kids. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming right back. All right. We're back. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on the stream, man. You got anything you want to talk about? Have at it. Trey says I'm rooting for Colorado because of Shaggy Von Doom. Kyle's a good dude, man. Good guy. Like Kyle a lot. Glad to have him. We'll have him back on next week to break down the first couple of games of the series. Steven says Obi-Wan fire. I have not watched this week's episode yet.
Pretty good.
So here's the thing. Everybody, Diddy and I were talking about this last night. Everybody either loved it or thought it was terrible. Like, no in between. No, like, it was okay. Everybody was like, it's really good, or it wasn't.
There are some people that want to not like something, and so they'll find reasons.
Yeah.
I thought the episode...
Why would you not want to watch, like, why would you not want to like that, though?
Same reason some people hate the prequels. A lot of people hate the postquels because they believe they take away from the magic of the first three, I think.
I mean, I didn't like the postquels, but it wasn't because I went into them not wanting to like them. I wanted to like them.
There were parts of them I liked. So, I mean, still, I love Palpatine. I love the Evil Choir. I just thought that was awesome.
The Evil Choir.
The Evil Choir, yeah, that was just so cool. The second postquel is probably the worst of Star Wars. I might even put that above Rogue One. I hate Rogue One.
I don't know how you hate Rogue One. Rogue One was phenomenal.
There's no hope.
That's literally the point of the movie. I'm not doing this with you again.
Everybody dies. Everybody dies. Nobody escaped.
They
Everybody
sacrificed
died.
for a purpose.
It's like Andor's coming out. Why don't I want to watch that when I know how everything ends and everybody dies? I don't see an engineer in the building, and the blue light on the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
is out. I don't know if you just...
Did we try turning it off and turning it on again?
How do you do it? I mean, do you reach up there and push a button? I mean, there appears to be, it might be a button. I don't know. But I'm afraid if I push it, like it'll fall out of the ceiling or something. It's right there in the hallway. So if you look out in the hallway, he installed it right there.
Yeah, I know where it is. I'll go look at it during the next break, see if there's a...
But why would it turn off?
I don't know.
I tried to use Alexa in the bathroom. There is no Wi-Fi connection. Okay. I wonder if it's downstairs too. Is it separate Wi-Fi down there?
Oh, is it? They put one down there too? I have a friend who was in New York last weekend who met BD Wong in person.
Mm-hmm.
And they put up a picture on Instagram. And I was just like, did you ask him how cool it was to turn heel in the Jurassic World series? Like, full heel turn.
Extra points if he actually knows what turning heel is. No, lad. I will have this debate with anyone and everyone for the rest of my life. Rogue One has no hope. Does it have a couple of good points to it? Yeah. I am one with the Force. The Force is one with me. It's great. There's no hope.
Painfully wrong. Painfully wrong. Literally, the end of the movie is the New Hope.
Everybody died. Everybody died. That's not hope.
Everybody.
Everybody died.
Leia got away with the new hope.
She was sent from everyone who died on the planet. They all died.
Sacrificed themselves for the cause. Hey, shush me all you want. You're wrong, partner. You are. You don't get like super strong your wrongs out of me very often, Zoe. But you're wrong. Rogue One was spectacular.
Rogue One is one of those movies where people think it's cool to like. So if you go against it, well, you're uncool. It's one of we have to like it because everybody else thought it was cool. That's what it was. There's no hope. Everyone dies. Everyone dies. Everyone.
If Lonzo likes a thing you don't, it's because it's cool to hate the thing. And if Lonzo doesn't like a thing you do, it's because everybody just loves to hate things or love things that are bad.
All right, first of all, this is my story, and I direct how my story goes. Second of all, everyone is don't put that on me. Everybody
in the chat no. Everybody in the chat.
I'm not.
You're the only one who does it.
I'm not. I'm sure I got some people out there, but anyway, because I've had this discussion before. What I'm talking about, Lonzo thinks that his opinion is. So does Rob. Rob believes his opinion is. So don't try to misdirect and make it.
My opinion is objectively correct in this case.
Is it?
Yes. Rogue One was good.
I disagree.
Was really good.
I disagree. It had no hope.
It had all the hope. The literal last scene of the movie was the hope.
Zero hope. Zero hope. Let's get attached to all these people, and hey, guess what? We're just going to kill them all. Every single one of them is going to die.
For the cause.
You're welcome.
Which gives them hope.
Okay.
Without their sacrifice, there is no hope.
Fine. Whatever. You're wrong. It's a horrible,
Texter
horrible
says
movie.
Rogue One sucks. No, you suck.
Rob's opinion is that you suck.
Yeah.
And because it's Rob's opinion, that means it's right.
Lonzo just angrily pushed the mic off button. Texter says, around town Rob Brown ale served in a wire-rimmed pint glass with a proper talking head capping the smooth malted hop flavor. He used my favorite word, exhibiting a mouthfeel. Have we discussed this term mouthfeel before? We have, right? I've brought this term up.
Possibly, but because it's about alcohol, it just kind of, it's there for the moment for me.
They use this in food critiques all the time. It's got an interesting mouthfeel.
I'm being accused of texting the show while on air. You can see my hands, okay? If you're, you can see my hands. I am not texting the show.
Texter says, I invested my time to watch a movie where everybody dies. Stupid. By the way, that's the same texter, not a different one.
Well, you said there was no one out there who agreed with me, and now you're wrong.
Right, it's Lonzo and that one guy. Lonzo and that
solidarity,
one guy.
baby.
Steven says, Zoe's wrong. Rogue One was great. No need to have hope. Lad says...
Wait. No need to have hope? Is that what he's... No need to have hope?
There was hope. That was the point.
Wait.
How are you missing the action? Did you not see the end of the movie?
How do you live life without hope?
Did Vader show up and you were like, nah, I'm done?
That's what it's all about. You take away the Vader hallway scene, none of you people, and I stress you people, none of you people would be going, oh, it was a great movie. You get rid of that hallway scene and you'd be right there with me. There's no hope.
It's like you missed the end of the movie somehow. Unbelievable.
No, unfortunately, I watched the whole thing.
Lad said A New Hope was possible because of them. Yeah, I know, Lad. You're that text is clearly for Zoe, because I know. That's the point. They sacrifice themselves for... How do you not like a story where people are willing to sacrifice themselves for a greater cause?
You ever have an opinion and you look at other people and you cannot understand why they don't see your point of view?
Right now!
Yeah, I mean, I get that you're being populist and whatever other word that I could come up with, and you want to be one with the crowd. Well, I'm not. I have an opinion that may differ from other people, and my opinion is it had no hope, so it is the worst Star Wars movie of all time.
It is not even close. It is better than all three postquels. Better than all three, hands down. All right. Sports, because this is the first conversation that
I would rather watch a Boba Fett high-speed Vespa chase Then watch Rogue One again.
Oh, man. Boba Fett was good. That was bad. That was bad. All right. A couple more stories I wanted to get into. Let's grab this one real quick. The NFL has investigated Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder, and they issued their punishment. One of which, the result, is that Dan Snyder has to be away from Washington Commanders team business for an extended period of time. Well, Dan Snyder has informed the House Oversight Committee after he was invited to a June 22nd hearing to testify, Devon. He was invited to testify.
We ain't got no tables in here. I get them, though.
He said that he would be out of the country on, quote, long-standing Commanders-related business conflicts, end quote. Now,
he's moving the Commanders to London.
yeah, right. Let me say, and our personal politics aside, I'm not a big fan of Congress, right? Like the idea of Congress, the premise upon which we founded Congress is solid. The idea of Congress is great. The execution of it, not so great. All right? They fail like a lot. Like a lot. So, let me make this real easy for the House Oversight Committee. Move the hearing back a week, right? Just find a reason. Just come up with any reason. Dear Mr. or Mrs. Chairman or Chairwoman, I don't know who it is. Pound the gavel, make the executive decision. Cool. Dan can't show up on the 22nd. We'll do it on the 29th. And if he has, quote, long-standing Commanders business conflicts on the 29th, then move it back to the 6th of the next month. And if he can't show up for that, move it back to the 13th. And if you can't show up for that, move it back to the 20th. Right? Or just have another meeting. You're not limited. Like, we don't have a cap on the number of meetings you're allowed to have. That's kind of the point of, your job.
Well, maybe they should be about real business of taking care of the country. That's one way to look at it. And then there's also the thing that they have a lot of breaks. So you got to work around those breaks. They got to go back home to their constituents.
I wish we had as much vacation as Congress.
I got quite a bit. Quite a bit.
That's true. That's true. Now keep in mind that the premise of the punishment for Dan Snyder was that he wasn't supposed to be around the Commanders, but now he can't go to Congress because of Commanders business. Is that not kind of the thing? Roger Goodell, on the other hand, will show up and testify. And I find that relatively interesting. Because Roger Goodell is the only person outside of the Washington Commanders who is going to have and the people who did the investigation, who is going to have the full scope of what the investigation actually found. Roger Goodell will sit down before the committee to discuss the league's most scandal-plagued team, that according to the Washington Post. Snyder and Goodell were both asked to testify at the hearing, scheduled for the 22nd of this month. Snyder said no. Goodell said yes. Now, do you believe for a second that Daniel Snyder genuinely just happened to have an out-of-town conflict with that date? I do not. I do not. Dan Snyder just doesn't want to do it. So I guess at least Roger Goodell is? Like at least Goodell is? I am all for Congress focusing on fixing, everything because the country's on fire.
Wait, you mean doing their job? Is that what you mean?
Well, I don't want to set the bar too high. But I also understand that this is part of that, right? Because if the type of behavior exhibited by Daniel Snyder and the Washington Commanders, is allowed to continue, then you start having other businesses and business owners and people, and I use that term loosely, exhibiting the same behavior because why not? They're off the hook, right? They can get away with it. So I'm fine with a hearing to send a message that the type of behavior engaged in by Daniel Snyder and the Commanders, is not okay, right? Because this texter saying he's a private business, doesn't need to report to Congress, can do what he wants. I've been informed that is how it works. Yes, provided you are operating under the letters of the law. We have business laws for a reason. Because without them, people do terrible things historically. You can operate your business according to the letter of the law in the way that you want to. But what Dan Snyder was allowing to happen under his team and his eye was terrible and mostly illegal. And in the eyes of some, just allowed to happen. That's the problem. That is why I want to see this change. That's why I want to see this happen. So I guess I'm glad that Goodell is going to testify. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, well, Senator, I'm not entirely sure how to answer that question. Well, Senator, we, with all due respect, that is, we're going to keep that as privileged information for the league. I don't know why I'm talking like that. That's not how Roger Goodell talks, but you get my point. You get my point?
That is how some of the senators talk, though.
I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the old guy the other day interviewing the CEO of Google about cell phones and had no idea what the hell he was talking about? He's interviewing the CEO of Google. And it's like, if I walk over from this side of Congress to that side of Congress, does Google know where I am? And the guy's like, if you enact location access on your phone, it could. But you also have the option to opt out of location access, in which case, no. But he's like, right, but you know where I am. And the guy's like, right, again, if you enable the location access, yes. But if you do not, then no, we can't geotag you. And the guy's like, so the answer is yes. The guy's like, no, that's not the answer. But it is.
Well, he could have proved that Google is watching by just saying, watch this. I'm going to say super spreader or super fan or just some word over and over again. Now watch how everything pops up on my feed from that word, because we've all seen that happen. They know where you are at all times. They can deny they don't know. They know. Alexa's watching. Everyone's watching. They all know.
There's a reason for that. I actually read an article about that on one of the big tech websites, that it's not that your phone is listening to you like we all kind of have built this assumption that they are. It is that your phone actually interacts with the phones of the people around you, and basically based on its interactions, dude, you're on the internet. Everything you have does that. Your Xbox does that. Every internet connected device
you got my AI fear just going nuts right here. I just want you to know that the phones are talking to each other.
Skynet's listening, and basically, like if Lonzo and I are in a room together, those phones touch. Not physically, that would be weird. They're in our pockets. But those phones touch. And when they do, it tracks things that Lonzo and I have in common, right? That we have both looked for. So like when I hang out at the office with Lonzo long enough, eventually the ads on my phone will start to turn towards wrestling and video games. Why? Because those are both things that Lonzo and I frequently Google search, and it knows that me and if Lonzo are together, we're probably talking about that, which means we're going to be thinking about that and responding to that in that moment.
And
it's kind of interesting.
Weird forms of jazz also.
Swedish, I have found, is my new thing.
Ooh, Swedish.
Swedish jazz.
I got to also ask you, I know we're live on the air, but I got to ask you to please turn your Alexa off. We don't have to worry about it today. Because yesterday, I was putting together a spot for Bob McClain where he said Alexa. And every time he said Alexa, Alexa told me what the weather was. And I had to do some serious edits, so I had to replay it over and over again, and it just kept. It was the first time, I gotta admit, it scared me a little bit.
The annoying sound, the alert sound is very annoying. I agree. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, I got plenty more to get into. The Atlanta Braves are white hot right now, and even without Ozzy Albies, they still got another dub over the Caps last night. We're going to talk about that more when we come back. My name is Rob, the Nats, not the Caps. I'm thinking hockey. I got Stanley Cup on the brain. What do you want? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, we back.
All right, doing a little research because, just curious. Several different sites have ranked Star Wars movies and where they should be. I haven't found a ranking so far where Rogue One was above 5. So that just all you lovers of Rogue One, you are kind of in the minority.
No,
you're kind of in the minority. They're middle of the pack. They're middle of the pack.
On this show,
you're
the minority.
For most people, I don't know. As we know, only the more vocal people, will throw out their opinions. Doesn't mean that the majority of the people listening is on your side or my side. Probably on my side, just because I've been here longer, and that's what it is. So, in conclusion, I think it's the worst movie. The majority of the websites I've looked at says that Rogue One is mid.
Is mid.
As I think the kids say. At least wrestling says it. So, that's all that matters to me. You might be able to do this, but I'm curious. Name more than one character from Rogue One. Without looking it up.
The droid. The droid was the best.
All right. What was the droid's name?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I've seen Rogue One in 2 years.
So you enjoy the movie so much, but you don't remember the characters' names. That's the kind of argument you come at me with all the time.
I have terrible memory. It is what it is. Rogue One's great. My man Brandon's coming at you in the chat.
He's got the list.
No, he's not.
He's just copying and
dude.
pasting. All right, Rob, who is Galen Erso?
Jen Erso's dad, the Imperial officer who designed this Death Star with weaknesses in it for the exact purposes that they took the plans for to give to Leia so that the rebels would have a new hope.
Who is the voice of the droid?
I have no idea. I didn't look that up when the movie came out. Is this somebody I know?
Look it up.
It was Alan Tudyk. How about that? Learn something new every day here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Hour number 2 coming to a close.
By the way, he also died. The droid died.
Oh. I was like, when did Alan Tudyk die?
No. Not the actor.
When did Steve the Pirate die?
Peter. Grr.
Grr. Love Steve the Pirate. What a character. Dodgeball. Dodgeball never gets love in the best sports movie discussion. It qualifies.
Oh, I agree. Every once in a while, you will throw out a quote that I am just like, dude, that is so cool that you actually were, yeah.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Movie's so good, man. So good. Now I just want to go watch Dodgeball. I didn't want to do the last time. Can we just do an hour of the show where we
Brandon just said, what am I
going
going to, if you're not a pirate, what am I going to do with all this buried treasure?
God, that movie was so unappreciated. If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. Was that Rip? Wasn't that Rip Torn?
It was Rip Torn.
What a hell of an acting name, by the way. What's your name? Rip. Rip Torn. Rip Torn. Yeah, Rip Torn. That's it. Bleep you, Chuck Norris. What a good movie. All right. Let's get some more sports in here before we take a break. Hey, I found this. Nobody's going to care but me. Did you know, Lonzo, that the NBA has a dude? And when I say a dude, I mean a dude. One guy whose job is to travel around the NBA arenas and make sure that all of the rims are set to the correct height and width. That's his whole job.
Please tell me that he has a pocket protector and he wears really thick glasses. And
God, I hope so. Drew Sorensen has been traveling to all of the NBA arenas and calibrating rims for the league for 30 years at this point. According to ESPN, if a point has been scored on a hoop in the NBA or even the backup stanchion that hides in the arena totals in case of emergency, Sorensen has been the one to examine it with his kit of tools and instruments. I did not know.
He's Batman of the NBA.
Yeah.
Comes in with his kit of tools and instruments.
I am the knight of measurements.
Do you get an alert at an arena? He's coming today. Oh no, get everything right.
So this came about because before game 3 of the NBA Finals, when the Warriors were doing their shoot around, they came and found out They said that something feels off. Something feels off about the goal, right? It's wrong. Steph's shots are coming up short. Guys that can dunk are falling out. They're like, something is wrong here. So they called it into question. They did a measurement of the rim, and it turned out that the rim was 2 inches too high. It was 10 feet, 2 inches off the ground, which, like in most worlds, 2 inches is not the end of the world. Stop with the jokes, you pervs.
If you're having trouble dunking because it's 2 inches higher, then you can barely jump. That's, I mean, most of those guys get so far above the rim.
I could dunk in high school, but when I say dunk, I mean put the ball over the rim and grip the rim with fingertips. And that was it for me. Like, that was the extent of the dunk for me. If that rim was 2 inches higher, I can't flush.
I could dunk a volleyball because I couldn't grip a basketball, but I could get up there.
I could get a basketball in one-handed, but it was like barely, right? 10 feet, 2 inches, I could not have been able to dunk. If you are a marksman like Steph Curry, right, and every one of your shots is coming up an inch short, you're going to go, wait a minute.
See, I get that. I get for the long shooters, but for the dunkers, I don't think it would make that much of a difference unless you just can't jump.
Oh, yeah. So Sorensen spends the entire NBA season traveling from arena to arena to arena to arena to arena, just checking rims. That's all this guy does. I
wonder how much you make to do that. Sounds like a good gig.
He's done it for 30 years. He must have something.
Does he roll up in a limo?
Right? Comes out with his Batman utility kit of rulers and weights. Because he also checks, and we're making light of it, but he also checks the amount of give in the rim, right? The rim, an NBA rim, is set to have 200 pounds applied to it before it gives, which is why you don't ever see the rim move unless a guy flushes on it, right? Hangs on it.
So he has an assistant who's a really large Shaq-like dude that he just brings with him to pull on the rim.
He's got two. He's got one guy that weighs 199 pounds and one that weighs 201 pounds. And he's like, all right, Jim, you jump up there and hang on. Didn't move. All right, Bob, you jump up there and hang on. It did move. All right, it's good. It's set. Perfect. This guy's been traveling 30 years doing this. That's unbelievable.
So when does he arrive early in the week, or does he arrives right before a game, right?
So he does all the arenas before the season starts, right? He does all the arenas before the season starts, and then once the season is underway, he just travels around the league as the season goes. I guess just like hits them all in a row and then starts the process over.
I'm just picturing him showing up before the game, checking it out, and having a box and just up there watching the game.
In my mind, the dude hates basketball. He just happened, like one day he was there, he was working for an arena. Guys were like, hey, Drew, go measure. Make sure it's 10 feet. He's like, all right, boss, 10 feet it is. And then the NBA went, great, that's your job now.
I have never seen anyone measure so precise as you, Drew.
You are the best measurer in the game. By the way, after that game, after the rim was found to be off inches, Boston, who definitely Belichick does not have a history of their teams doing things that are illegal. Boston claimed that the reason the rim was off was because during halftime, they had a dunk exhibition who, quote, abused, end quote, the rim. Yes, Boston, they slammed so hard on the rim that they made it go up. That's how things work. That's how physics works, right? You hit something towards the floor and it goes up. All right. I got Braves talk when we come back because, guys, it's fun to talk about the Braves again. Let's take a break. We're back after this. Rob Lonzo, this is the Fan Upstate. don't know if you follow Henry Winkler on Twitter.
Stop.
I can't even talk about Twitter anymore. Bless you, sir.
I do believe I might be dying. Thank you, Luke. You have a Prisma in the first break.
Prisma. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo, in the pilot's chair today. I'm going to get some Braves talk here in just a minute from now, but before we do, Lonzo, I like my job a lot. Do you like your job a lot? I like my job a lot.
I love my job. I've been here 22 years.
Yeah.
If you don't love something, you don't stay that long.
Lonzo, would you have your pinky amputated in order to continue your job?
Probably. And you know, you may think, you know, it's a joke, but you know, I said I love my job.
I mean, I don't really use it that much, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a two-seam fastball pitcher, so I don't need it for that.
I don't need it for video games.
Yeah, doesn't push any buttons on the controller. It is a stability option, but you know, I don't know about you. I've had to learn to loosen up on the controller, so now most of the pressure is ring fingers for me on the controller.
All right, so the only disadvantage I could see is you can no longer pinky promise.
Right.
But
well, you could. You just have to do it with the other hand.
It'd be like a nub promise or something. Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Marcus Davenport is a defensive end for the New Orleans Saints. Marcus Davenport had to do just that. Back when he was playing college football, when he was at Texas San Antonio, Marcus Davenport had his pinky effectively smashed. The top portion of his left pinky had to be removed because during the season last year, during a game, after he tore the ligaments in his finger, which, by the way, that's what happened to my thumb. That's why I got this weird bump in my thumb, because I tore all the ligaments in it. It's all scar tissue that built up. During a game, he had the metal plate that was inserted into his pinky, a metal plate. If you ever wondered how hard these dudes fight in the trenches, a metal plate in his pinky shattered. Not the bone, the metal plate. And when it did, he got multiple infections in his finger. And after multiple surgeries, they could not beat the infection. So in order to be able to play and keep the rest of his hand predominantly, Marcus Davenport had to have his pinky amputated. He held it up in front of reporters the other day and said, and I quote, "You're looking at a nub," end quote. That was his whole take.
I got to say, I don't think you could do it, though, because as a 1%er, you would be kicked out of the country club if you could not raise your pinky while drinking your tea.
Got his pinky hacked off because a metal plate in it.
Did he keep it?
Would you?
Some people do.
Like put it in a jar?
No, some people do. Make a necklace out of it. I don't know, an earring, something. I mean, if you look across and you see the guy across from you on the line and he's got an earring on and it's his pinky as his earring.
I worry about you sometimes.
It's all about intimidation, man. You haven't seen people who have like necklaces made from the gallstones and things like that?
No!
Yeah, it's a thing.
No!
It's definitely a thing.
It should stop being a thing. It should definitely not be
I
a thing.
I never said it was a good thing, but it's a thing.
Oh, what? Why? Necklaces are for the ears of your fallen enemies in video games and nothing else. Nothing else.
I gotta say, if I was still playing football and I could make an earring out of a pinky I had cut off, I probably would do it because I just to see the look on the guy's face.
Oh, dude. No. Ladies and gentlemen, the Atlanta Braves are good. The Atlanta Braves are good. Like, really good.
I just want to take credit for this because, a few weeks ago you were talking about how bad they were, and I said same about the same time last year they just started winning, and after I said it, they started winning. So you're welcome. I'm the opposite of Chris Evans.
I was gonna say you're the anti-Captain America Chris Evans down the hall. I was freaking out. I'm like, oh God, we suck. Win the World Series, come out absolutely stone cold the next year, and I don't mean in a glass-shattering good way. Lonzo's like, relax. Well, here we are. How about 14 in a row for Atlanta? And how about the bats of the Bravos being white hot? 2 weeks ago, the Atlanta Braves were 12 and a half games back of the New York Mets in the division. And everybody, including myself, including baseball expert Cody Decker, my co-host on my nationally syndicated radio show, which airs from 1 to 5 on Saturdays. Have I brought that up yet? We both said, if you are the Braves at this point, you are playing for a wild card spot, right? The Mets have already put themselves too far ahead. The Mets have already run away, and they're playing really, really good baseball. They're too far ahead. They built up too much of a lead. There's no going back to the NL East Championship. That was 2 weeks ago when they were 12 and a half games back. Today, after a 14 game win streak, the Bravos are now 4 games back in the Mets. Now, the Mets are still good. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. 6-4. The Braves, however, in their last 10 are obviously 10-0. 14-0 in their last 14. I'm not saying that the Braves run is going to continue on indefinitely, right? You went out to Colorado. That's a good team. It's not a great team, but a good team. You swept them. You had the Pirates come to your house. That's a bad team. It's a bad team. You swept them. Then you went to D.C. and you took on the Nets. Again, a bad team. But you swept them. Right? Now, you've got the Cubs coming to the house this weekend. First pitch is tomorrow at 2:20 in the afternoon. Then you got a Saturday 2:20 game and a Sunday 2:20 game. Daytime 3-game set against the Northsiders. Sweep this series, I will be thoroughly impressed. Sweeping the Rockies is good. Sweeping any team in baseball is good. Sweeping the Orioles is impressive in a 3 or 4 game series, a 5-game series. It's impressive. Even bad teams are going to have a good day and show up and make it hard to work. The Braves have swept 3 consecutive National League teams, and now they come up against, I don't know, I would argue the best of those 4, right? I would argue the best of those 4 in the National League. The Rockies are currently 27-36. The Pirates are 25-37, and the Nationals are 23-42. Now, the Cubs' record's only 23-39. They are 1-9 in their last 10. But it is a team, when the bats wake up, that can be a decent baseball team. Sweeping a good team is hard. Sweeping 4 consecutive bad teams or mediocre teams in 4 consecutive series shows me that you are a contender. A genuine contender. The Braves look good. The Bats are alive. In fact, I would even go so far as to say the Bats are carrying the Bats that don't need to be carried. Ozuna has been good. Not great. Not what Marcell Ozuna is supposed to be. Not the reason you keep a guy convicted of beating his wife on the roster for. Right? Ozzy Albies is now down for at least 2 months. 60-day IL, courtesy of a fractured left foot in a freak injury a couple of nights ago. Coming out of the batter's box, just went to the ground with a broken left foot. 60-day IL as of 2 days ago. That does not mean that he will be back in 60 days. It means that's how long he is definitely out for, and it may go longer. They may start adding 10 at a time after that, depending on where he stands. But Orlando Arcia stepped in at second. What did he do in his first start back at second base? No big deal. A dinger, 3 singles, and a walk. The Braves, in a 3-game series, hit 13 home runs and outscored the Nationals 27-11. Spencer Strider, the Clemson product, was good yesterday. He said, quote, everything seems to be clicking right now for us top to bottom. Unfortunately, we got Ozzy's injury, but Arcia stepped right in and looked like he's been playing every day. So he's picked up Ozzy big time, and we're in good shape right now. Atlanta is now within 4 games of the NL leading Mets, who, by the way, lost to the Brewers, who are, again, not a bad team, but not a good one. Austin Riley, single and hit 2-run blast in the 7th and 8th innings for his 17th and 18th homers this year. But here's what I like about Austin Riley. In the first 2 games at Washington, Austin Riley was 0 for 7, a mini slump. 0 for 7. A lot of guys go for 0 for 7 in a 2-game slump, and that carries through in game 3, and they need a reset to get out of that park and go somewhere else to see the baseball differently. He came out and hit a pair of shots last night. The guys you need hitting the baseball, Ronnie, Dansby, Darno, they're doing it. The guys you need throwing the baseball are doing so. Spencer Strider has been big in his step up to a starting role. Big in his step up in a starting role. Max Fried has been good. In fact, the only guy I would say has not been good, has been average, is Charlie Morton. And he won't stay that way forever. Kyle Wright in the 4th slot in the rotation has been good enough. And Spencer Strider, like I said, a dude that started in the pen, who got called into a starter's role because of injuries and a lack of available pitchers, has stepped way up. Has stepped way up. And then, while Matzik and McHugh are out in the relief position, Will Smith, AJ Minter, and Jackson Stevens have been, pretty good. Freaking good. And then Kenley Jansen is Kenley Jansen. You need a save? Kenley Jansen's going to go get it for you. Even guys that have stepped in fill-in roles. William Contreras, picked up from the Cubs, has stepped in when Darno's needed a breather and performed. We talked about Orlando Arcia. Arcia, in the loss of Albies a couple of nights ago, has been a defensive brick wall at second base. There is very little getting past that guy right now. Michael Harris II, a rook, a prospect starting this year, a new guy. Michael Harris gets to DC. The Braves need a bat, and what does he do? In game number 2, hits his first dinger of the year. In game number 3, hits his second. I don't think anybody expected Michael Harris II to be a factor this year. But the more XP that guy gets, the better he gets. I mean, as of right now, this team is playing good baseball. Like, really good baseball. The bats have come alive. Now, they're going to go cold again at some point. It is inevitable. The good news is that what has been traditionally inevitable is that the Mets slow up too, right? The Mets slow up too. The Mets fall apart every now and then as well. So what you want to do if you're Atlanta is keep the hot streak alive. You drop one, don't panic. You've won 14 in a row. You got time. All you need to do is make sure that down the stretch, you are close to New York. Be within 4 games at the All-Star break. If you can go out there and outpace the Mets, fantastico. That'd be great. But I will be thrilled if you're still within 4 games at the break. Because if you're within 4 games at the break, you take your breather, you come out the other end hot, as the Braves have done in the past, and you're right there with a chance to get another divisional crown. This team is good. I did not give them enough credit. The bats were quiet, the pitching was questionable, and I slammed the panic button. Lonzo had to talk me off the edge. Cody Decker had to talk me off the edge. Braves are going to be fine. Relax, man. I said, look, the chemistry's not there, right? This team does not feel the same as the team last year felt headed from the All-Star break into the playoffs. That was on me. That was on me slamming the panic button. And look, they found it. They found the chemistry. They found the bats. They're alive. The pitching has gotten significantly better. And by the way, they've still got guys working their way back. We talked about those the other day. Eddie Rosario is working his way towards the end of the 60-day IL. Put Rosario's bat into that lineup. Honestly, right now, it's like, where do you even put it, right? Where do you put it? Michael Harris Jr. is hitting the ball well. You taking him out of center to put Rosario out there? I mean, maybe Rosario was aces last year in the run to the World Series. But are you making that switch? I don't know. You're not taking Ronnie out. Do you move Rosario into the DH role and put Ozuna on the bench? Let him get, I don't know. But that's a good problem to have. You're still waiting on on Matzik to come back from the 15-day IL. That's going to give you a bit of extra relief if he comes back healthy and good to go. This Braves team's got depth, and they've got a really, really good lineup right now. The bats are going to go cold again. It happens. That's how it goes. But you have cut a 12.5 game lead down to 4. Stick within 4 until after the All-Star break, when the Braves have traditionally gotten better as the season's gone on. Let your GM do GM things. Let Anthopoulos do what he did last year to find the right pieces to fill in where they need to be. Honestly, I don't know where they need to be, right? Braves fans were like, uh-oh, we lost Freddie. What are we going to do? Matt Olson's going to do what he needs to do. That was a fantastic move from Alex Anthopoulos. Let him do GM stuff. Stay within 4 of the Mets, and you're going to be fine. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Time for Fight Club with Lonzo, where we talk all things combat sports, MMA, boxing, professional wrestling. It's all coming up next on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Risma.
Be right back, stream. Got to do it live. All right, we back, kids. You ever see Big Hero 8?
Big Hero 6?
6. Big Hero Denominator.
Yes.
Divisible by 2.
Yes.
I never saw it, but I heard it's good.
Also fun to play with in Kingdom Hearts 3. Depends on how you play it, Brandon. If you continually try for the headshot, definitely combat sport.
I'd be afraid to play with Lonzo, to be honest. I feel like Lonzo would be aiming for injury. I'm going to make you remember losing this dog.
Oh, I will hold the ball the entire match, doing evasive moves that someone my size should not be able to do just to get the headshot.
Waiting for that one moment.
And if I miss, I'm going to be very disappointed. I'm just going to stand there and say, hit me, I failed, I deserve it. Yes, Brandon, for intimidation. I might cut a pinky or two off. Well, welcome into the fight game where I will muster up as much as I can before having a coughing fit because screw you, allergies. It's Fight Club time. People worrying that I got sick at the beach. No, I didn't. It's just allergies. It hits me every year. If you had a head my size, you would have worse allergies than other people. That's all I'm saying. All right, the first thing to talk about may just occupy the entire time because I don't know if Rob enjoys the downfall of people who create, people who are billionaires, but it looks like one is on its way. And the question is, are we surprised? According to the Wall Street Journal, Vince McMahon is being investigated because he paid off a paralegal who was employed by the WWE $3 million to is hush money to not disclose the affair that they allegedly had, and so she can't say or do or anything about that. And she got $3 million. Was somehow the powers that be, other places that they found out about it. So he's being investigated. Not only him, but Johnny Ace also supposedly. And I saw a thing where supposedly Vince handed girls off to Johnny Ace. And here's the thing. This is the character he's played on TV for years. So is this really a surprise if this is true? Again, it's alleged, so we don't know that it really happened, but it probably did. Is this the end of WWE?
No.
And also, is this why Stephanie took a leave of absence?
It is not the end of WWE. It is the end of Vince McMahon as the head of WWE because while Vince will still own, 85% of the stock of WWE, he would still be primary stockholder. The board of directors at WWE have equal votes to Vince. And there's one of two possibilities here. Number one is that the board of directors decide just getting him off the board and not having him at day-to-day operations is the way to go. And they vote a vote of no confidence in Vince, and they effectively remove him from head of operations of WWE over this.
And it definitely will be like the Senate in Star Wars, because when you said that, I'm just picturing that.
Oh, yeah. No,
the vote of no confidence.
It would be
that way.
It would be like It would be like in Captain America Winter Soldier when they have all the heads of S.H.I.E.L.D. sitting together and they're all voting Robert Redford out, you know? It'll be like that. And VKM's going to go down just as hard as Robert Redford did, willing to take people down on the way out. The other option, and I read this last night, and I'm not an attorney, nor did I stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but I did read that the other option, if the board of directors cannot get him out, would be for the rest of the shareholders. Now, Vince owns like 85%. Between Steph, H, and Linda, they own collectively like 3.5%, which means that there is in the neighborhood of about 12% of stockholders still out there. But those stocks are not predominantly held by individuals like me and Zoe. Those stocks are held by investment firms. They are held by major companies that have invested in WWE over the years. Those major firms, specifically investment firms, they're going to be able to look and go, okay, two things happen. Number one, Vince secretly used company money, that is shareholder profit, to pay off a woman, at least one, for affairs that he had.
Well, according to the story, she started out with a salary of $100,000, and the next year she got a raise
of
to
100%.
So she was making $200,000.
Yeah. And so, listen, I am attacking this story, though, not even digging into like speculation of what happened. We've all heard the horror stories about Vince. There have been more of them that have come out even in the last 24 hours since this story broke. But I'm just going literally just what's happening from a business perspective. Option one is the board votes him off. He is still primary stockholder, but he does not have control of the company anymore because he's no longer the head of the board of directors. He's just a stockholder like you and I. Option number two is the 12 to 17% of stockholders who are not McMahon or McMahon related file a class action lawsuit against Vince that goes, you were taking millions of dollars out of company coffers, undisclosed, and using them to pay off unethical and immoral relationships. Now, I do care about the sex thing. If Vince is being a predator, then yes, I want that dude taken down. No doubt about it. I don't know that listen, him and Linda have reportedly not been like close in a number of years. This may be something that Linda's like, I don't care. Like, we're married because it's easier to be married than divorced or whatever. And they don't care. So I'm not even getting into the aspect. But if he was taking millions of dollars out of WWE coffers to pay off affair partners, not reporting that, and taking the image hit to the company that this is inevitably going to be, that is going to be a massive decrease in value of the company that is WWE, and the stockholders can collectively file a class action lawsuit for damages against Vince McMahon, which could lead to him ultimately voting out. And even if the board doesn't initially, if it is going to cost them millions of dollars to pay off a class action lawsuit, at that point, they will care less about Vince and more about the company. I am going ahead and say, I will be, and I'm not trying to be exaggerative here for the sake of radio. I mean this. I was having this conversation with a couple of wrestling buddies yesterday. I will be stunned if the TV networks and the financial firms that have a lot of money wrapped up in WWE don't force this to be the end of direct, not indirect, but direct involvement by Vince McMahon. And now it is fair to speculate. We don't know if it is why, but it is fair to speculate that this is why Triple H and Steph both walked away from the company. Not sold their stock, but just don't work there anymore. This is probably the reason why, which is a bad look for Vince.
See, and the other thing is, can you have WWE without McMahon's name being mentioned? Because if you're trying to get away from him and you're finding a way to remove him from being over to WWE, every time his name is mentioned, the reason why he's no longer there will be brought up. So can you have WWE exist without the name McMahon being mentioned?
This is where, first off, WWE PR experts are about to make a lot of money, right? Because I think you have to not only address this, but I think you have to address it out of kayfabe, right? You have to genuinely address it as a company post the removal of Vince. Because anything you say before you remove Vince is lip service and nothing else. Once Vince is removed, which I absolutely believe he is going to be in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Once Vince is removed, I think you have to address it with whoever is the next guy, whether it's Nick Khan, which, God, I hope not, but whether it's Nick or Paul Levesque or Stephanie McMahon or whoever is up next to take over the role of board of directors chief. You have to have them come out and speak out violently against Vince and what Vince did and how Vince did it. Even if it's not sincere, you got to do it, because otherwise you find yourself in the situation the Cleveland Browns are in right now, and it is not going well for them.
Well, imagine if this is found out to be true. And again, I mean, because of reputation and everything, you can't help but think that it probably is true. And this is just an opinion. We don't know. But then you find out that there's predatory behavior throughout the entire.
Got to go.
But then what do you do with the network? What do you do with all the stuff that they're intertwined in everything?
No, so here's the thing.
Do you remove all of that?
Here's the thing. If they remove VKM from the board of directors, the company still exists. It goes on. You know what this is? Somebody made a great comparison. This is the equivalent of the birth of the Hobgoblin in Spider-Man when the board of directors votes Norman Osborn out of the company. Osborn Corps keeps going. It doesn't stop. WWE still exists. The only difference is that Vince doesn't call the shots anymore. Now, he is still primary stockholder, and he would still have votes on things that stockholders can vote on. But at the end of the day, the direction of the company is formed by the board of directors of the company until the stockholders one day, if they decide to file to dispel the board of directors and create a new one, which I don't know if they will or won't. A lot of it's going to ride on what the reaction of the board of directors is. VKM at that point does not have control of WWE anymore. So the company still exists. Raw still exists. SmackDown still exists. The equipment is still owned by them. The shows are still owned by them. The only question is going to be at this point, if the TV networks decide to continue their relationship. And I will bet you that they will. Because if VKM is gone, Raw and SmackDown are not Vince McMahon. He was Raw and SmackDown, but they are not him. And those shows still draw stupid amounts of eyes to the television. The networks are probably not going to let go of those two shows. Peacock is not going to drop WWE from their catalog because it's a money printing machine, unless they decide not to vote VKM out of power, in which case the networks drop WWE, and that's where the company is threatened, in my ever so humble yet frequently correct opinion.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a former, not the latter. I think he'll be gone.
I think he's gone.
That's the move. I think he will be smart enough to remove himself.
I don't know, because here's the thing. I was talking about this with Joey B, P1 of the show the other day, yesterday afternoon. We were texting back and forth about this. And I said, here's the thing. Vince has so much money. There's no financial penalty against Vince that hurts him, right? The dude's a billionaire. He's got no issue.
Unless you can take it all.
Right,
yeah.
Which is not going to happen, right? The only thing that you know for a fact that hurts Vince is when his ego is dinged, right? We've known that for years. Wrestlers who have dinged Vince's egos become unhireable to some degree. Vince's ego, legacy, reputation is the only thing he cares about that you can punish him with, right? So, if you are a board of director, you can go ahead and rest assured that if you try to remove Vince, Vince is going to lawyer the hell up and fight it for as long as he can fight it, which means you got to do it the right way, right? Now, the danger in that for Vince is if Vince decides to lawyer up and fight his removal from the board of directors, say it's unjustified, right? If he tries that and it ends up getting dragged into a lawsuit that goes on for months, potentially years, if that happens, Vince may still ultimately be removed, and I believe he will. But if this lawsuit's going to go on for months or years, the networks could very well say, we are out until it is resolved. We will not air Raw or SmackDown until it's resolved. At which point, what are they going to do? Broadcast those shows on Facebook where they're not going to get nearly the amount of viewers, which means they're going to lose tons of money, right? And the other aspect of this is going to be, from a wrestler's perspective, how many gals in that locker room, how many bros in that locker room go, yeah, I don't want to work for this company anymore. I'm out.
Well, I mean, again, the rumors are out there, and his on-screen character looks like what they're saying he is. And I mean, I saw something, and it was showing him parading around with Sable. I mean, and you think of all the other women
he
that
made Trish crawl around on her hands and knees and bark like a dog. And I get that VKM being a chauvinist jerk was the character, right? But there are times when things hit a little close to home, right? Like, okay, now we see why Vince wrote his, because Vince was in control of this. This is Vince's creation, right? There are other cats that have really, really bad gimmicks, but it's not them. At the end of the day, Vince is the one who says, you're going to do this so you don't work here. Now we get why Vince's character was so gross for so many years. It's because VKM was living a characterized version of his life as Mr. McMahon, the wrestling character, and that is part of the reason that this hammer is being brought down by the public so hard on Vince, because you're going, all right, you had Sable out there, and you had Trish. By the way, very popular story, during the Edge and Lita live sex celebration after Edge became champ, Lita did not want to do that. Lita was, and she has spoken about this many times. She was like, I was not comfortable. I didn't want to do it. I had no interest. And Vince basically came to her and said, you're going to do it or you are not a wrestler anymore. Your job, and not just your job, your career is going to be made or broken by you doing this gross thing that I want you to do that you're not uncomfortable doing, and pushed her, made her do that to save her career. She's been telling that story for years. I was actually shocked that WWE had her come back not too long ago because of that. But this is it's now a little on the nose for Vince, and I think he's dug himself a hole he cannot get out of, even with stacks of cash.
All right, obviously there were a bunch of other things to talk about, but this was, I figured, would take up the majority of the time. The other question I have pertaining to this is, how many more stories are we going to hear? How many women are going to come forth and say, hey, the same thing was happening to me?
Part of the accusations, remember, against Vince are that Vince had multiple NDAs that were signed for this exact style of behavior with other women, right? And those NDAs coming in the form of hundreds of thousands of dollars out of Vince's pocket for years to keep his behavior secret. Those NDAs, I don't know how it works. I don't know that now this story's out in the open that these women can or would violate their NDAs. But there are lots of stories about multiple, dozens, if not more, NDAs Vince had women sign because of this type of behavior. And you got to think at least a few of them are going to start going, you know what? Forget the money. It's the right thing to do. Again, look at what happened with Deshaun. It started with 4 or 5 women, and then it turned to 12, and then it turned to 20, and then it turned to 24. And now we got 2 more coming down the pipe. So by the end of next week, he'll have 26. It started with 3 or 4, right? Now it's at 26, and we know many of those women signed NDAs with Deshaun Watson to get paid, and now they're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I assume the same here.
Does wrestling survive this? Because if more and more come out, this could be a chance for AEW to overtake and be the show. But but does this become a thing about wrestling and not just about WWE?
So with stuff like Dark Side of the Ring that's been going on the last couple of years, the ugly side of wrestling has been having a light shined on it for a while now, right? Like we've got even Ric Flair has taken some heat for the behavior that he displayed back in the day.
Helicopter comes to mind.
Absolutely. So the dark side of wrestling has been coming to light. And now you've shown it went all the way to the top, right? So now over here you've got AEW, who, with a few exceptions, Tony Khan seems to be trying to make a message of, It's inclusive, it's fair, it's equal. Everybody's involved here, right? They've got Nyla Rose, a trans wrestler. They've got multiple openly gay wrestlers. They've got minority wrestlers winning championships. Jeff Hardy gets hit with a DUI, suspended without pay the next day, and told you will not be back until you complete a rehab that we will pay for. But you will complete a full round of rehab before you're welcome back, and you have no more strikes remaining. Right now, I would say just on the Vince story alone, today, AEW has a shot to show that they are the company that fans want to be a part of, because now the ugly side of WWE has been shown to be from the top down, and it's going to be months that the light is shined on this, which will be interesting. All right, your thoughts on that are welcome. 71307. Start your text with fam. We'll read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. I want your discussions, your thoughts, your discussions on this. I find it very fascinating. Back after this to wrap up the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
So the question is going to be, it was relatively well known that Nick Khan is a Vince McMahon yes guy, right? So the board would not only have control to get rid of Vince, but have control who replaces him as the operator of the board of directors. It is not inevitable that they would pick Nick Khan. And there's a part of me that doesn't wonder unless it is found out that Triple H knew about this, if they wouldn't bring back Paul Levesque to be the new CEO.
See,
or him and Steph both.
I think it'd be Steph because from a PR standpoint,
putting a woman in charge.
Would be the way to go.
Again, I think that is going to be dependent on being able to say with a.
See, I try to stay out of the politics, and you try to shove it back in there.
Yeah, you have to talk about it here. I think a large part of that would be doing a very thorough investigation to make sure that Steph did not know this was happening, right?
Right.
If Steph and or Triple H knew this was happening, they got to go too. Which would be a shame because a Triple H Raw and SmackDown would be good.
I completely agree if his heart can handle it.
Correct. But you got to think Triple H would probably not. I think the difference between him and Vince would be Vince is sitting gorilla at every show calling every shot, whereas I think H would be like, you guys are wrestlers. I trust you to go out there and wrestle and not make us look bad, right? I think he'd be much less hands-off, and it would be much less stress than the way that Vince did it.
From a character standpoint, if you're a Theory, do they change his character now? Because from McMahon's protege. Yeah, because that's suddenly not a good thing you want.
No, it's not. I think you just drop the VKM protege thing and you just lean into the hyper social medialized millennial now.
I mean, yeah, the character's there. You can remove that, but
here's the thing.
But you can't leave it. You can't leave it there for sure.
The way he's playing that character now, he doesn't need the Vince McMahon's protege thing. He can drop that and still be the same guy, and it works.
Well, it looks like they were leading towards a feud with him and John Cena.
Yeah.
Which I would like to see.
But does that have the same steam on it if it's not right? Because Cena coming back to beat Vince's protege and make him just another wrestler would be good. Does guy who likes to post selfies versus John Cena have the same appeal?
If you're building yourself as the next and better John Cena. Yeah. All right, time for Twitter trending topics. By the way, I want to make sure that we continue to invite you to tune in on the stream during commercials where the show continues. I mean, we continued with the Vincent Kennedy McMahon story during the break, and so you need to tune in to hear some of that. All right, the first thing that's trending on Twitter trending topics is Henry Winkler.
The Fonz, The Fonz has picked up steam on social media for the most, and I'm going to use this word with all the affection I can, adorable reason. The Fonz is currently on a trip trout fishing. And so for the last few days, every day, he just opens up his day with a tweet that says something to the tune of, I hope you have a great day, with a picture of a fish. However,
pretty good sized fish too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, he tweeted out one the other day of this.
He's not catching little bluegill out there.
He's catching some solid trout. He posted one yesterday of a beautiful waterfall in the mountains with a caption, "We really have to take care of our planet." He posted one of him and a rainbow trout he caught that was big that said "no rain" and yet a rainbow. He's just been a good dude on Twitter. But then he dropped one this morning of him holding up a really, really nice rainbow trout with the caption, "Good morning, 18 inches of fun, no pun intended." The Fonz was like, I've been adorable for 2 days. Let me drop a BDE pun on Twitter today and see how that goes.
Or something you would expect the Fonz to drop, for sure.
Not even the Fonz was that dirty, right? Like, the Fonz dropped some innuendos, but my goodness.
I think it was implied that if he was allowed, he would have been.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Happy Days was in a different generation. Monday, Tuesday, happy days. All right.
One last thing. Sasha Banks is trending.
Yeah, because somebody owes Sasha an apology at this point. Sasha and Naomi were stripped of their belts and told they were acting unprofessionally. Or did they let her go?
The rumor is she has been released. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's out there that she's been released.
Really?
Yes.
That was not the move to make in this timeline, WWE. Vince let her walk on suspension for unprofessional behavior. Then this story drops and you cut her next? Vince, if you wanted to deflect the attention elsewhere, this was not it, dude. That's it for us. Jim Rum's up next. Then Mark and Dees will take you off sides at 3. Have a great day. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, stream. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Sincerely, Trey, Ladd, Brandon, Josh, Luke, Steven, whoever else I missed. Appreciate you guys.